Hi, my name is Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds. And here with me today, I have another diamond in the rough I'd like you guys to meet. This here is Sherman Deaton, offensive lineman out of Emporia State. Nice to have you today, sir.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Sure thing. We're looking at a guy who's a two-time all first team MIAA player. Fantastic offensive lineman there for Emporia State, which has a very prolific passing attack there that you guys had this past season. So, Sherman, go ahead and introduce yourself and let's get going.
Yeah, like I said, Sherman Deaton, out of Fountain Fort Carson. I've been at Emporia State for 5 seasons, so been a pleasure and ready to take the next step.
Cool. Let's go back and kind of fill in the blanks here for the early years for you. First off, let's start. How long have you played the game of football?
See, started in fourth grade, so been I think 15 or 16 years, something like that. So
Something,
it's been a while.
something
Yep,
like that.
something like that.
Um, so I'm assuming since you're a big guy, probably always been on the offensive line or defensive line.
Yep, I've never actually, unfortunately, carried the ball as much as I've tried to convince coaches over the years. Never got that goal line package that I wanted. So,
That's fine. Not all of us are built, made to be playmakers. Isn't to say that you don't make plays, but I'm saying the overall idea of playmaker is those guys that are always handling the ball.
right.
Uh,
Yep.
so Sherman from Fountain, Colorado, attended Fountain High School. Talk about your time there in high school, maybe one of your fondest memories.
Well, I mean, it's football wise, not a lot to talk about. We were pretty bad, to be honest with you. So, I'd say fondest memory is just playing next to the guys I got to play with. Still friends with my right guard in high school. So that kind of stuff, locker room, that would be more of the highlights than anything on the field. But obviously, beautiful state to live in and enjoyed it for sure. So.
Cool. So often sometimes like you go to a high school, maybe not have like all the wins that you wanted, and maybe perhaps that might actually affect your recruiting. I don't know how you might play this with you landing where you did, but how did you ultimately end up at Emporia State with all of your recruiting and decisions at that particular time in your life?
Yeah, so I didn't actually intend on playing college football till about 3 games into my senior year, believe it or not. So I was recruited somewhat, those local D2s, I was recruited by most of them, but didn't go to a lot of camps or anything to get seen. So it kind of came at me late, and I was like, you know what, maybe I should try it. And so I went to a recruiting event, and Emporia State ended up being there. Gave them my huddle link, and they saw it and official offered me. And about a month or so later, went on a visit, and I just really enjoyed the way talked about the culture and the way that they had built it. There's nothing flashy about Emporia State. People that have been there, there's not funding. It's not, we don't have the facilities that the rest of our conference does. And it's truly just built on like the family atmosphere and it showed by wins and absolutely being at high school and not succeeding a lot. The wins did matter. So those two things combined, I committed the day after my visit. So
Cool. Well, sometimes you end up going someplace just because of the fact that they really wanted you, and then of course wanting to be a part of I don't know, changing the culture, changing the history, and surrounded by a lot of people with talent, grit, determination to make it something special. Uh, so you're there at Emporia State. I know you like you had mentioned 5 years, but the first one being kind of interesting. You're coming in, it's the pandemic. We're not too sure exactly what's going on. And then eventually you do end up becoming a starter and then really been the foundation for that offensive line during your time there. Can you talk at length about your overall experience on that offensive line?
Yeah, so I was really fortunate early on to play with some really good players, guys that came through this process as well, that had an opportunity to go to the next level, all Americans. But more importantly than that, they taught me how to lead, how to play the game the right way, how to play with an edge, all those kind of things that I watched the culture. To be honest, when I came in, the offensive line was kind of the laughing stock of our school, essentially. Just didn't have a lot of the grit and stuff that the kind of stereotypes you have with a spread offense, and so um, we got Coach Cash in, and he kind of just went to work of changing our culture the way that we approached, and he had the right guys, the older guys that were willing to do that. And so, yeah, I got to play under those guys and watch them change the culture and be a part of that. And then when my opportunity came after they graduated, I really just tried to be myself, but also take the things that I appreciated from those guys and build the relationships in the room. Because offensive line, as much as it is about the play, it's just how much you're willing to sacrifice your body essentially to protect somebody either beside you or behind you. So those kind of things that, yeah, I've definitely enjoyed. It's been a pleasure, ups and downs, and overall just a great experience. So
So, team captain, been started for the past 4 years. I know some of that was at tackle, although these past couple seasons, playing at guard, which I feel like really suits you as a prospect. A lot of people looking at you, looking at your size, how you would translate to the next level. What do you feel is something you have going for you as a prospect? What do you think are some of your best attributes as a player?
um, two things. One, I think my ability to process the game um, and just know what I'm doing. That's I think the reason I was able to start young is because I could grasp what was happening and not make mistakes under pressure. I mean, well, I'm sure we'll get to talking about our offense, but it is extremely high tempo. So you have to know what you're doing. You can't go look at the defense for 20 seconds and then get in a stance. It's I'm running down the field, getting in my stance, and boom, and then you have to react based on that. So I think being able to react quickly and play on the fly, and then also with that offense passing so much, I think my pass protection is um, up there with the best in the country. So
Nice. So, as you had mentioned, as we both have mentioned, the passing game there has been tremendous. I mean, just want to double check. Second in the country, actually, in passing yards. We're looking at an average of 354 yards per game. But I don't even know if that really tells a tale, if we're being honest, because I mean, this past season, it actually took you guys a little while in order to get into the groove of things there and really settle into being this very high powered, very fast paced offense. Let's look at this past season. Again, you guys ended up going 7-4. And out the gate did pretty well for yourselves. Had a pretty solid game against Pitt State. Let's talk about that game first of all. Obviously, one of the better programs in the conference, and you guys ended up coming out with a victory there. Very, I guess, lower score, lower offense than you were expecting this year, but I mean, still a solid win. What do you remember from that game?
yeah, I think you all you hear for the time of year is about the jungle and pit and all that stuff, and um, it's one of those things. I played at Pitt 3 times, and I played them 3 times before this year, so I hadn't beat them, and I know that's how every senior felt. We had a pretty deep senior class, and We lost to them all my years here by a combined, like, I don't know, like 5 points. It was like, no, I mean, every year, even when 21, when we weren't, that great, it was the same. Like, we just were close, always fought. Pretty much every team we play, it's kind of that way. But if we do lose, it's not by a lot. There's a couple exceptions, but this year, I think, like I said, just a pack of hungry dogs went in there, and we were just ready to go. We weren't going to be denied that game, so it was definitely a amazing feeling going to their house and beating them. So that was great for sure.
So it actually takes you guys a little while to really settle into the style of offense that you guys really wanted to present this past season. I don't know what it was. Like, I don't know if the coaches lit a fire under you guys or completely, switched like the I don't know the strategy of the game, but I mean, it really wasn't until the Missouri Western game where everything developed and just kind of took off into this, wild passing attack. So, can you talk a little bit about maybe the shift into that game and just that kind of like that overall offense you guys have there?
So definitely, I wouldn't say it was a change of our game plan by any means. Since I've been here, if you dig back in Uh, Braden Gleason, who was before here for the last 3 years, I mean, he broke pretty much every record there is. And so that's always been our thing. But with a new quarterback, I think really it just took time to settle in to what the identity of this offense was going to be.
Right.
We pretty well have a system in place, and it's kind of a plug and play. So I think like I said, with the high tempo and stuff, it just can take some time to really get it. It's a very rhythmic based, timing based offense. So I think it just took some time, to be honest with you.
Hey, fair enough. And I'm looking at some of these games. There was one game in particular where there was like 73 passing attempts. It was absolutely absurd. And I'm looking at that and I'm thinking of an offensive lineman, maybe perhaps how they feel about it. If they're comfortable with it, if they would rather be running the ball. Talk to me, man. I mean, do you like how things have been executed there or what?
This year it was tough. I think normally in the past we run the ball a little bit more. We changed a few things in the running game this year, and it didn't work too well. But I think, yeah, as an offensive lineman, you love to run the ball. You want to get behind your shoulder pads and do that. But along with that, part of what we do is we take extreme pride in pass protection. I mean, if you go watch it, we're in 5-man protection at least 50% of the time, if not more. We don't have a lot of like running back help. We don't go in 7-man. You are, you versus them. And so it's different than maybe most. It's not like it's not gritty or something. We're looking for knockdowns. We're trying to get after everybody, even in pass protection. And it we did take great pride in it. Took a I mean, several years we're top like 3 in sacks given up, I think. So we pass the ball that time and still don't give up sacks, and that's partly scheme too, of course. But yeah, you love to run the ball, but at the same time, here we take pride in what we do. So
I hear you. I mean, sometimes it is quite simply just a matter of the coach, what the coach is doing with given personnel, and what he's trying to do. He's obviously trying to win games. I mean, you need to get the ball down the field. You need to score. So, I mean, there's a lot that goes into play with that. So, go ahead and talk up some of the people around you. By the way, if you don't mind, talk about some of the people that make that offense run.
yeah, I mean, all starts up top with Coach Haig and Coach Cash. They're the ones who come up with the plays. Both incredible coaches, um, and was great to play underneath them. And then, I mean, we can get started on Tyler Common. Incredible to watch. Bro, I don't know, just would shock us every single game for 2 years straight with the amount of touchdowns and just his playing ability in general. You know, I played with a bunch of great quarterbacks. Braden Gleason for start early in my career was one of the most fun people to watch play football I've ever seen, and it was a blast. He's absolutely electric. Then the last year, Gundy had a super talented arm. Fun to protect for that, and even our backup this year, Chase Rickey, um, one of my better friends on our team for sure. Just incredible. He came in with me and the way he handled everything, and he was a baller himself. And when he got a chance this year, I mean, he threw for like 475 yards or something. So we we know do not lack talent at the quarterback position since I've been here by any means. So, and the list goes on. Younger guys coming up as well. So.
Sure. I mean, obviously, you guys did a great job, offensively this past year. As we had mentioned, you had mentioned Tyler Common, who I had the privilege of interviewing some time ago. Listeners can go back and watch that video. Outstanding athlete for you guys, All American, knows how to find holes to exploit. Very smart, savvy receiver in his own right. You yourself, I mean, again, been a fixture there on the offensive line for a while. Obviously, without you giving ample time to that quarterback, really helps. Really helps, put together this offense. So finished up your time there at Emporia State and recently attended the College Gridiron Showcase down in Fort Worth, Texas. Talk a little bit about your time there, maybe some of the one-on-ones you had during those that week that you were there.
Yeah, cool experience. A lot of talent down there, and really shows you. It's good to show what it takes. Yeah, one-on-ones, inside zone or inside run period. Just kind of getting the understanding and technique down. One-on-ones were good. Kind of also showing you the level of some of the guys, and so it was a good experience for sure. So.
So are you getting one-on-ones with like I don't know, power four dudes? I mean, talk about it.
Yeah, I went against some bigger school guys. Rutgers kid was there, kid from Mississippi State. Um, I'm trying to think. There's a couple other ones. They kind of rotated, so I didn't go against all of them, but those are a couple bigger schools there, and then obviously a couple from smaller ones. I think Wyoming was there, which would have been, a little bigger school, but so kind of, I mean, I sat across the table from a D3 kid too, so it's really all levels there. So.
Well, the CGS does a good job of taking guys from here or there and all over, giving guys an opportunity to go one-on-one with somebody who you would have never seen, and giving guys like you, uh, I don't know, just kind of validation for what you can do, out there. One of the things that I was able to get from what the CGS provided me was some actually, decent measurables on you. I mean, we're looking at a guy with some decent arm length, 33 and 3/4 inch arms. And so that's not going to necessarily limit you per se as a player because, I mean, you do have the length to play outside or inside, on the interior on the offensive line. Anything else that you have to say about really what you bring to the table, or maybe what you're able to showcase out there in Texas?
Yeah, I mean, I try to use my length very effectively. My hand timing and placement in pass protection to uh, shut them down early and not let them get that run at a quarterback or and be sticky. So, and I think my film shows that. Um, and yeah, so it was hopefully show my footwork and some of those things that I've developed over the years.
Cool. So, what are you doing these days as you are preparing for your pro day? Can you talk to me about your day to day right now?
Yeah, so I'm probably a little unique compared to some people. I actually work at Napa Auto Parts, selling parts, and not a hard job by any means, but pays the
No.
bills. So, and then I train at our facility still here at Emporia State with Tyler Common and JJ Deron Joseph, who's also a prospect, and Jalen Robinson, who's a tackle, who played next to me for the last 2 years, off and on. And so training, getting after it, trying to prepare for the pro day, and hopefully put up some numbers that are impressive to some scouts. So
So people need to realize that these D2 guys, they don't have what everyone else has. I mean, you do need a job to pay the bills.
yeah, I don't have NIL.
It's just very tough to get NIL for D2 dudes. Let's
No
just
doubt.
say that. Very select few get those options, of course. But definitely appreciate the fact that you're still hard at work, in that fashion, training alongside some of your guys there, getting yourself prepared for your pro day. When is your pro day, by the way?
It is March 14th, so this Friday. So, yep,
So
coming up.
coming up, goodness, man, just a couple days. So,
Yep.
what do you feel maybe perhaps most proud of that you're going to be able to go out there and showcase? I mean, any of the drills or anything that you think you'll do well in, or what? I
Yeah,
mean,
I think
are you
I
pumping out a
think
lot of bench reps, or what are we doing?
hopefully bench definitely up in the 20s, definitely. But I mean, nothing. I'm not breaking any records or anything on bench, but I hope to get in that range. Then honestly, my L drill's been pretty good. I've been pretty good at that, and just hopefully show my change direction, 5, 10, 5, stuff like that. 40. I mean, it's okay. I'm not a blazer, but I hopefully good enough that they're not like, oh, he can't move. So
Well, you're an offensive lineman. If you're
yeah,
running 40 yards in a normal setting, something's either really, really, really good or something's really, really, really bad. That's just kind
yep,
of how it
pretty
goes,
much.
which is a
Yep,
rarity if we're being honest about it.
right.
We're really just
Yep,
looking for like that 10-yard split typically for big guys.
yep,
So your connection cut
yeah.
out a little bit when I asked the question about your bench reps. Can you repeat it?
Oh yeah. I think I should be in the low to mid 20s. I think is kind of where I've been. So
Solid,
nothing crazy, but functional. So
solid,
kind of
solid.
where I hope to be. Yeah.
Cool. Obviously, Sherman, we've been able to meet you as an athlete, as a prospect, football player. Want to see if we could take a moment to meet you outside of this game real quick. So, anything you have to share about yourself, if you don't mind, hobbies, interests, fun facts, special talents, anything you want to hit me with, man, I'm game. So, talk to me about Sherman Deaton.
Okay. So I am brother to 6 siblings. I've got 3 older brothers, all the way from 35 to one's 35, 33, and then there's one 25, 2 years older than me. And then I have 3 younger sisters who are all actually adopted from China. So they are later addition of my family, but obviously love them dearly. And then, yeah, I play golf. Not a lot to do out here. Play golf, hunt, um, hang out with my buddies. That's about it. Work at Napa, like I said.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And yeah, so
Um, let's talk a little bit more. I want to just throw a couple of fun questions your way. So, uh, I don't know, is there I don't know, maybe like a TV show or something you'd recommend I binge watch? I mean, what are you into?
well, I watch a lot of like sitcoms and stuff from, I like love Seinfeld, Friends, Parks and Rec, How I Met Your Mother. Those are all great. I just started the show Reacher on Amazon Prime, like last night, and I'm hooked. So I was actually watching that before this interview, so it's hooked me right in. I think let me see. There's Suits is really good. I don't know if you watched it. I like that one. It's
No.
kind of a different concept. Great character development.
Okay.
I love TV shows, so I can go for a while.
No, I get you. I've been actually looking for something new myself, so I'll take a look
Yeah.
when I get some time. So,
Okay.
a couple other
Sounds
fun
good.
questions. Uh, Talk to me about your hometown, real quick. Hometown of Fountain, Colorado. I'm not too familiar with the geography. Is the big city, little city? What's so important about that hometown? Like if I were to go over there and visit.
So I'll take you back even further. Just I grew up actually in Western Kansas in a tiny little town called Quinter that's right on I-70, and it's probably yeah less than 1,000 people for sure. And I grew up in the country on a farm. Country boy at heart. I worked for my grandpa. That's kind of where I probably learned my work ethic. And then right before my eighth grade year, we moved to Fountain. So I went from about 800 people in my town to 2,000 people in the school that I went to. So Fountain is
Wow.
basically a suburb of Colorado Springs. It's right there on the Front Range, just south of Colorado Springs. Yeah, it's big, and it's. I went to Fountain Fort Carson High School, so it's a mix of Fountain and Fort Carson Army Base. So it's kind of a military school, along with a public school. So always, I mean, 70% military, a lot of rotating people. Completely different experience than what I grew up with, where I think my graduating class from Quinter was 12 people, and then in
Wow.
Fountain I graduated with 450. So definitely different experiences, but both molded me into who I am today. And it uh, it was uh, it was probably for the best. So that's
Interesting.
kind of that.
Interesting that you had the complete, I don't know, different experience of being a country boy and then living like
In the
in this
city. Yeah,
big city area. So,
yeah,
definitely nice to be able to at least have that exposure, that difference,
yeah.
because you never know what life's going to throw at you. I mean, whether or not you're going to be in the country somewhere or in some big city. So, I mean, you have to be able to be comfortable in both.
Right.
So it's seemingly you've had both experiences, which is nice. So, Sherman, need to steer things back to football as we try and wrap things up. Uh, who have you been a big fan of growing up, man? Who is maybe the one guy who plays your position who you've tried to perhaps emulate while you're trying to get that position at the next level?
So when I was a tackle, before every game, I'd watch Trent Williams highlights. Trent Williams is probably the mountaintop as far as tackles right now, at least. Him and Lane Johnson. Um, so those two, and then at guard, big Quentin Nelson fan ever since he was at Notre Dame, and then on the nastier side, I love going back and watching how Richie Incognito played. So
I
those
knew you were
are
going to
those.
go old school Richie. So
Yeah, Richie's he's fun to watch and just the edge they played with. Trent's the same way, has that he's one of those guys you can't really emulate though because it almost doesn't look like he's trying. He's so athletic. He's God gifted him with things that I will never have, unfortunately. So you kind of just watch him and are in awe of how he plays. But yeah, I just love offensive line play. I watch more games. I will love the Eagles this year just because they absolutely were dominant up front, and so I think just offensive lines in general. I watch. Nobody else probably watches the offensive line except for
you would be surprised. There's plenty of people out there, but Sherman, as we close up shop, I mean, obviously, we've been talking to each other under the platform of you trying to get to that next level as well. Maybe perhaps be a depth chart piece for any team, for someone trying to look for a guard or tackle. to be able to, plug in, here, again, showcase the fact that you can really do well as a pass blocker there for Emporia State. So as we close up, final thoughts. Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, just been a great experience. I think whatever team, if they want to give me a shot, I'll just do everything I can to bring value. I don't care what position I play. I'll try to do the best that I can at whatever it is. I look at my resume, not a troublemaker or anything, so try to bring good character and light and the light of Jesus wherever I go. So it's just hope somebody gives me a shot and we'll see. But it is whatever happens, it's all right.
Gotcha. Again, team captain, two-time All-MIAA player, looking for an opportunity at the next level. Sherman, want to wish you all the best in your endeavors. Okay.
Appreciate that, Jimmy. Thanks.
Sure. Once again, Sherman Deaton, offensive lineman, Emporia State. Check him out.